I see it on the online forums almost every single day. Some guy buys a pressure washer, turns the dial on the unloader valve down to, I don't know, maybe 1,000 psi, and starts telling his clients he is offering professional soft washing. But here is the cold, hard reality. Soft washing is not just jet washing with the volume turned down. It is a completely different animal. When we talk about true professional soft washing, we are operating at a pressure level that is practically identical to your average domestic garden hose. We are talking under 150 psi. Think about that for a second. At that pressure, you have zero risk of blowing out render joints, forcing water behind window seals, or shattering fragile roof tiles. It is incredibly gentle on the structure, but it is absolutely lethal to what is actually making that building dirty. And that is because of the biology of what we are dealing with. See, when you look at a dirty render wall or a black spotted patio, you are not looking at dirt. Not really. You are looking at a living, breathing, biological community. Algae, mold, moss, lichen, bacteria, they build this microscopic fortress called a biofilm, and they root themselves deep inside the pores of the stone or the render. Now, if you hit that with a high-pressure jet wash, yeah, it looks clean for a minute. But chemically, structurally, all you have done is mowed the lawn. You have blasted off the top of the plant, but you left the root system completely intact inside the pores. And guess what? Within a few months, it comes back, often thicker and faster than before, because you have just opened up the pores of the stone and filled them with fresh water. I always tell my training students to use this analogy when they are talking to their own customers. If you spill raw chicken juice on your kitchen worktop at home, you do not pull out a high-pressure jet wash to clean it up. Of course you don't. You would spray a chemical sanitizer on it to kill the bacteria at the source, let it dwell, and then wipe it away. Soft washing is simply taking that identical biological sanitizing logic and applying it to the outside of a house. We let the chemistry do the hard work of destroying the roots of that biofilm, so the surface stays clean for a hell of a lot longer without any of the physical damage. But we did not just arrive at this scientific approach overnight. The industry actually grew out of a lot of destruction back in the 1980s and 1990s. Contractors back then were using massive pressure washers on roofs, and they were literally stripping the protective coatings right off roof shingles, eroding historic stone and causing massive water intrusion. It was a disaster, quite frankly. And that destructive era is what forced people to start experimenting. At first it was pretty rogue. Guys were throwing raw household bleach and agricultural chemicals into bucket mixes, not really knowing what they were doing, just trying to find a way to clean without the pressure. But the trade grew up in the early 2000s. We moved away from that backyard bucket mixing and started developing highly specialized biodegradable surfactants like CleverWash or DDAC-based biocides like Softwash Pro 50. And then the technology caught up. Suddenly we had proportioning systems like the Clever Injector dosatron units. These systems plug right into your water supply and use the water flow itself to precisely draw and mix the chemical at the exact ratio you need, straight to your delivery hose. No more pre-mixing whole batches of chemical in a tank that might go off before you finish the job. It is clean, it is precise, and it completely minimizes waste and environmental runoff. But look, even with the best equipment in the world, the real secret weapon in this industry is not what is in your van. It is what is in your head. There are far too many cowboys out there right now who buy a drum of sodium hypochlorite, throw it at a wall, and call themselves soft washers. They do not understand chemical runoff. They can't identify different render types, and they have no idea about COSH safety compliance or what proper PPE they should be wearing to protect their lungs and eyes. That is not professional cleaning. That is just a liability waiting to happen. If you want to stand out, if you want to command the high-value commercial and residential jobs, you have to elevate your trade. And that starts with proper education. That is why we run the Softwash UK CPD Certified Softwash training course. We teach you the actual science, the safety protocols, and the exact mixing ratios for every surface type. When you complete that training, you do not just get a certificate. You earn the credentials to become an approved Softwash applicator, and you gain access to the National Association of Softwash, the NASW community. That is how you build real, long-term trust with your clients. You show them you are not just a bloke with a pressure washer, but a certified professional who knows exactly how to protect their property. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.